Every time we went there, we were called Bamba Clad, we were called Kinky Rastas, we were called all kinds of names. That happened for about 3-4 years. On the 5th year, we felt that no, let's just call it a day and give it up, and we started sort of doing things on our own as Garveyites without the involvement of Rastas because of those problems. It wasn't only in Alexandra, it was other places as well. Wherever we went to speak to sort of communicate with the Rastas, we found the same differences. So we felt as the U.N.I.A. that, look, because every time we go to the Rastas, there are these problems, let's just not work with the Rastas anymore. So that's how we reached that decision.
And which year was this, Mahala?
As I said, we contacted the Jamaican U.N.I.A. in 1986. But the branch in South Africa was started in 1989. And then, in other words, we started trying to work with the Rastas from 1989. And we tried for about 5 years and it didn't work out, and we decided to call it quits. So what we do in South Africa, we do receive books from the States, but most of our people are, I wouldn't say lazy to read, but they don't have that tendency to read. So what we do from these books, we just take a chapter, especially those are relevant to South Africa. Look, the whole information, black information, is relevant to all black people everywhere, but some of the things we feel that the people in South Africa will be much more, they will see the link between themselves and that particular information. So we just take one chapter and we make pamphlets like this. This is from one of Mulefekete Asante's book. And then this is from John Henry Clark. So it's just chapters that we took out. And then this I think this pamphlet we got from the internet, I think. Marcus Garvey raised first. So we sort of distribute these pamphlets, and at least if it's a 5-page or 10-page pamphlets, people are more willing to read. So this is how we are trying to spread the information. We also use CDs as well. We have CDs, speech CDs, Malcolm X and all the other great black leaders. And then we have in some cases we have DVDs. We don't have a lot of DVDs though. It's just a few DVDs that we have. That one is a speech that I gave to Ebu Kosini, I think it was 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So another thing that we do, if we have the African study groups, it's more like a school where we teach people how to, in other words, we sort of instill this Afrocentric information in them, and then we teach them how to apply it in real life. So this is called the African study groups. And then when we have holidays like Reconciliation Day and all that, we go to the functions that people are having, and then we sort of give them an idea of what reconciliation is in terms of black people, the way they were treated in the past, the way they are treated now, and the way they will be treated in future. You can't reconcile with an enemy who doesn't show any signs of repentance. So that's what we try and teach people. Day of Heritage, we teach them what in other words, that's where we teach them more about black history. What we contributed, the civilization that we as black people contributed to the whole world. So those are basically the things that we do in South Africa.
True.
Yes.
And how much?
It's very unfortunate that we find it difficult to work with the Rastas. We would have liked to work with them, but it just doesn't work out.
So I would just like to ask, like, I've got 2 questions. How much, like, in terms of U.N.I.A, how much has it spread around here in Azania? In terms of, is this the only branch that exists here ever since it was founded, or maybe are there any other branches? Look,
if you look at the history of the U.N.I.A in the past, there were a lot of branches in South Africa. I think there were around 8 just in Johannesburg, because you had a few in Soweto, I think you had one in Everton, and you had a lot of other branches, and you had one in Pretoria as well. But as time went on, you know, with the political situation in South Africa and other things happening, right now there's only this one branch. And I don't think it will spread that much, because in this branch, what we overstress, and the thing that chases people away, is that we overstress responsibility. For example, when we started the branch, some people felt that, oh, because we have link with people overseas, we will get monies from overseas and all that. So when we sat down and we talked, I said, look, we can get anything from, we have support from an international support. Garvey's organizations, Garvey himself is well known. His organizations are well known. If there's a branch in South Africa, the whole world would like to support that branch. But here I want 100% responsibility. If you want money, you will get the money, but you have to tell us and the whole world what you are going to do with the money. In other words, you have 100% responsibility. The money, when it comes into the organization, you will be 100% responsible for that money. You have to give a report every month to the whole world about the progress of how you are using that. So some people do not want that. They want half responsibility.
I know.
So that's basically why, when we started off, for example, we had more than 30 members. After a few months, then the number was reduced to 25 and so on. Right now we have, I think we last year we had 12 people, but now they are beginning to be, most of them are beginning to be inactive. The core people who are still active, it's actually 4 people, which is very, very, it might sound discouraging, but these are 4 very responsible people. We don't believe that we need to convert the whole world in order to change the situation of black people. Look at people like Bheki. I'm not saying he was working alone, but look at his influence and look at the situation around him, how it changed, not only around him, but around the whole of South Africa. Look at what happened in 1976. Some organizations might claim that they are the ones who started that, but whoever who has an open mind will understand what happened and who caused, in other words, whose influence was it in 1976. So people they run away because of that responsibility. We have given, some people have phoned us and they want to open branches in there was one who phoned us from Pretoria. And if you want to start a branch, you only need 7 members. And then you can start, because you have to have a president, a lady president, vice president, secretary. So at least there must be 7 people. Then you can open a branch. We have given other people that information. We have given them the contacts for the people overseas, but we don't see any action. People just ask us and we give them the information, but there's no action. Yeah. Okay.
And then, Elder, as you say that maybe like you have had trouble working with the Rasta community from that time, ever since maybe the like after, I would say, 1994, were there any kind of links after that? Like, for example, in this era, when we gave up working with the Rastas, we just gave up, because even when we look now, we don't see any paradigm shift in the Rastas. In other words, the beliefs they had at that time, that some of them, obviously not all of them, that if you don't have a dreadlocks, you are not a Rasta. Obviously, if you are not Rasta, some of them classify you as being part and parcel of Babylon. So and they might call you names, Bambaklat. At some stage, I was called a vampire and all that. So, at every now and then I do talk to some, because some of them are concerned like you. They come to me, they say, what happened? No, let's try and work again. But when you look at the mentality, it's still the same. So I don't think anything has changed from what was happening before 1994 compared to what was happening before 1994 and what happened after 1994 in terms of the Rasta mentality. I don't think a lot has changed. And then in terms of the youth, how much are the youth involved within U.N.I.A? In terms of even the activities, the U.N.I.A, for example, universities, do you go to universities and like to address the youth or to speak to the youth? Like
no, we haven't done enough of that. We have done it a little bit, but not as much as we would like to do it. But what we are concentrating on, like I say, we don't have enough people. But with me, for example, me specifically, I try and deal with anything that is educational. That's why I'm spreading information through the pamphlets, through the CDs, through the DVDs, and so on. That's what we are concentrating on at the moment. The problem is that we might go to universities. I think some of the students in the universities, they know this information. They know about Bheki. They might know about Garvey. They might know about other leaders as well. They might know about Malcolm X and others. But what we would like to do is to change. I mean, a lot of people talk about this, but let's talk and do at the same time, because that's where I'm stressing that the information that we learn, let's put it into practice. So going to universities and all that, we will create an interest, but we will need serious people who will sort of accommodate those people who would like to come into the organization. Because with only 4 people and maybe 10,000 students or something, to a certain extent, there won't be much control. Thinking, in other words, I'm saying this at the back of my mind. I have the way we were indoctrinated as Black South Africans, because some of the students are more interested in the Rainbow Nation concept than this thing of black and white. And even some of the Rastas say, no, one love. And then some of them said, no, we can't deal with Babylon. And so there is also a division right there. So what I'm concentrating on at the moment is the people who are 100% black. In other words, who are more worried about the problems that black people have. So anything that has to do with rainbow and all that, or when we still have to, most of the time actually when we go out, we end up addressing Rainbow Nation issues, which I understand. A lot of people are they have more information on Rainbow Nation. I don't even think that is enough. But they tend to talk more about Rainbow Nation than about solving our problems as black people. Yeah, the problem with me, I will also, because I also have my own view, and the problem with me is that I evaluate any situation. If I see that if I talk here there won't be a difference, I won't talk. In other words, I don't like wasting my voice, my energy, my time, and in a situation where I see that I won't be able to contribute anything. So if I see that, oh, if I talk here, at least there will be, I'm not saying there will be changes and so on, but if I meet, for example, a group of people who believe in the Rainbow Nation, and I realize that they don't understand what they are talking about, I'll just give them information that will show them that they need to study more and to learn more and to understand that Rainbow Nation concept more. Then those people will be, motivated to go and either do researches or find out more about this so-called Rainbow Nation concept. And in that situation, yes, I can say something. But if the situation is not conducive to any information or anything that we do, then I just keep quiet.
So I was just wondering, the experience you had concerning these Rastas that you're mentioning, was it only mainly in Gauteng, or is the national experience?
Most of the time it's in Gauteng. But when we look at the whole philosophy, even TV, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a program on TV where they were talking. So the things they talk about TV everywhere, even in the States and so on, they are more or less the same. I don't think there's a big difference between the Rastas in Gauteng and maybe the Rastas in the Cape and so on. The things we are talking about here, you will still see them. When I listen to them talking on TV, they are still talking about the same thing. We were at some stage visited by Elder Sister Makida from Britain. She told us the same thing, that we are kinky Rastas, we are bombo clad, and I was wearing a tie that day, and she said, no, we shouldn't be wearing ties. And so she was the same. I thought maybe because she's from Britain and so on, she will be different. We have met good Rastas, we have met bad Rastas as well. So it's a combination of all those things. I'm not saying only Rastas are like that, by the way. All the people in the world are like that. But in some cases, some of the Rastas that we met, they become too radical. Like in Alexandra, I was actually, they were planning to attack me at some stage. And that's the time when I went back to them. I said, look, and according to what I'm getting, people here are talking that I am the one who divided the Rastas. I said to them, look, my intention of coming here wasn't to divide the Rastas. If my coming here has resulted into that, I have come here today to apologize. This was before they even came to attack me, because I heard that they were going to attack me, and I went to them first. Now, maybe that confused them. They didn't know what to do, but they accepted my apologies, and I said, look, from now on, that's the time when we decided as an organization. I said, from now on, we will not work with the Rastas, because it looks like wherever we go, we divide the Rastas, which I knew wasn't true. But I was just like giving myself over and showing my broken heart that they say the division was caused by me, and I knew very well it wasn't caused by me. At some stage, a few months later, some of them came back to me. They said, no, Elder, don't worry about these other people. Them na stand Rasta, Aryan. So we just felt that we just can't carry on with them. They are a little bit more radical than other people who are sort of, who don't agree with us or who think maybe otherwise about us. And so
then follow that. I'm wondering now if there is a positive, like my brother was mentioning, if there's a young generation of people who are also in the field of education, but they are Rastas, they have a stamina to deal with, and then they would love to have also like a working relationship in terms of educational transfer, as what you were saying from the beginning. The gravity of the information that you received, you felt that it needed some kind of custodians yourself from initially. So I'm wondering now, from that initial point of view, if there is an entity that seeks that kind of relationship, would it be possible for that to transpire?
No. Look, if I think you know more about Rastafarianism than me. Rasta, they have sort of their own philosophy. Now, you get out of that philosophy, you don't become a Rasta. In other words, there are sort of the basic things that you have to, I mean, you have the Bobo Shant, you have the 12 tribes, and you have Naya Pingi and so on. I know that they all belong to one umbrella, but to a certain extent, they sort of have a philosophy. Some of those philosophies don't go hand in hand with, in other words, in answering your question about students and so on, if those students become Rastas, they will have to adopt a Rastafarian sort of philosophy, which might not work properly for the relationship that you are talking about. For now, Rastas believe, I'm talking about what I hear on TV and what I see and what the problems that we had in other ways. You will always, even in that group that you are talking about, you will always have Rastas, even young ones, who, when you go to them, or some of them seek this relationship, when you start the relationship over, among those people, you will have those who will be fighting against us, who will be saying, no, these are not Rastas because they don't have dreadlocks. These are not Rastas because they eat meat. They don't even know whether you eat meat or not, but according to them, you don't have a trade, so you must be eating meat. You are a vampire, you are a bomber clad. So all I'm saying is that it doesn't matter which group of Rastas, whether it's old Rastas or young Rastas, or you will have among those people, you will have those who are against the relationship. In other words, there are those who are obsessed about the purity of their way. They call it a way of life. They don't want us to call it a religion. They will be obsessed about the purity of their way of life. In other words, they won't want someone from Babylon or someone from outside to come and taint their way of life. In other words, let me give you a practical example. There are Rastas who say we don't eat meat. They don't only just not eat meat. They don't want anybody who eats meat to associate with them. So it goes very far, it goes further than that, and then it carried to its logical conclusion. It means they can't work with anybody either who eats meat or who stays with people who eat meat, even if they don't eat meat, or who touches a person who eats meat. You look at how sometimes how the Rastas greet. Sometimes it's the feast, sometimes it's this. We wanted to greet some people, they say, no, I am spiritual, I don't touch anybody. So you will have people like those. I'm talking about now within the Rasta communities. So if you have a situation like that, as the U.N.I.A, we would like to have a proper relationship where you have your beliefs or you have your way of life. You understand that maybe I'm not a Rasta, I also have my own way of life, but the important here is the survival of the black race.
This is what I'm saying now. Since now we are aware about these people and that consistently throughout their working relationship throughout these years, this is their way of living as they are saying, they're defining it. Does it mean now that becomes the impediment of not making progress, of trying to achieve that?
If we work alone as the Garveyites, we see the progress, we see the improvements, we make pamphlets, we give them to people, they read. Most of the people who read these pamphlets, they come back to us, they ask more questions. In other words, we are busy right now teaching people, and we see the results of our teachings. They are learning. Now, every time we try and work with Rastas, we just stop. In other words, Rastas to us, they are an impediment in a sense that the more we try and work with them, we end up wasting all our energy and efforts and everything fighting among ourselves. So rather than do that, let's leave them alone to do what they want to do, and let's do what we want to do. Maybe they will have progress and we will have progress. Somewhere along the line, the black race will have progress. But if we spend a lot of time squabbling against each other, to me, that's the most important thing, for our people to get the information. Like as the elder is saying, if he gives me information or he gives anybody information, it's up to each and every individual to look at that information and say, what is the truth? Obviously, once you see that, once you are looking at the truth, you will know it's the truth. You won't be able to run away from it. You can do your other things, but you will know what is the truth. So the information is what I want to reach the people. My worry was that every time we try, and as an organization, we try and work with the Rastas, we end up dealing more with food and other things and squabble against each other, instead of saying, look, okay, we understand our level of understanding is not the same. Maybe up to now, I didn't understand until the elder explained that if I start combing my hair, I'm changing the features that the Almighty gave to me. Now I'm aware of it, but I wasn't aware of it before. Now, if I'm on the level where I don't understand, and you are chasing me out because I don't understand, then I will just move away. But where are we going as black people? We are going nowhere. In other words, what I'm saying is that we have different levels of understanding or understanding, and then as we move forward, we will be learning. But we have to learn and move forward at the same time. If we are not moving forward, then I might as well forget about everything, leave everything.
Also, elder, another issue, if you remember when I spoke to the elder the last time, was the issue of Garvey Day, my elder. Yeah. Every time when there is Marcus Garvey Day, we always do Garvey seminars within the institution. The last year we did a three-day gathering within the institution. We were having speeches, and then poetry sessions, you see, on the other days, and brothers who are singers and musicians.
Yeah, the only organization that we worked with as an organization is the Global African Congress. Because you still have the differences among I&I, but we discuss the differences, we understand the differences, and we move forward. That's the only organization that at this moment we seem to be able to work with. These other organizations, we end up fighting among ourselves and stopping all the work that should be done. So that was my main issue.
I think, elder, it also has to do with the misconceptions the elder speak about. Because within Rastafari, Marcus Garvey is recognized as a prophet by elder. Because it is Marcus Garvey who said, look to the east for the crowning of the king. That is what is said within Rastafari.
When we started, even before we started the branch of the U.N.I.A, we recognized the Rastas as our priests. We went to them, they didn't come to us, we went to them. And we said, these are our priests. We prostrated ourselves among our priests.
Marcus Garvey did not have dreadlock in that time. You know.
I want to tell you that what you mentioned, there are some information on Marcus Garvey that you people don't know either. Because I personally don't recognize Marcus Garvey. In the way I hear a lot of one do it. Because I understand Marcus Garvey knowledge that he had of Africa was from John Chilimbo in Malawi, who he met in England, because Marcus Garvey had never come here. He met John Chilimbo in England, and that's where he got the information about Africa. Then he didn't really said, this is the knowledge I get from where I get it. He used it as a self-promotion action. And that's what he did. Even this is Imperial Majesty, although he said, look to Africa where the black king shall crown the king of kings. He turned around and this is Majesty.
I remember that.
Even Father Leonard Howell, who went to England the same way, although Father Howell was in Ethiopia. After he went to England in the said period and saw His Majesty then he took His Majesty portrait to Jamaica to establish His Majesty, this is the Almighty. Now he had gone through tribulation on that one. Even Marcus Garvey himself put Father Leonard Howell on that very tedious tribulation. Like Marcus Garvey would go to his, Father Leonard Howell would go to Marcus Garvey meeting, and Marcus Garvey would have a member of his meeting there to throw him out and said he's a madman, to describe his Imperial Majesty the Almighty. Because he was on, Marcus Garvey was on the God issue from the religious force. He didn't, up to Marcus Garvey disappearance then out of the system, he didn't accept His Imperial Majesty. His Majesty sent and called him after his releasing of what he said, and he didn't come. He was very much afraid. So I would say today, it's not much man there going to hear this from that said they don't recognize Marcus Garvey. Because I said it when I come here, and it's like one said, this is the first I hear something like this.
Even that information we do have, but when we said this to some of the Rastas, they said, no, this is indoctrination from Babylon and all.
I can give you something even more tangible in this way of Father Leonard Howell base that he had in Jamaica there at a place called Pinnacle. Now because of the action amongst the government and then even his family run away leave him. Because the whole process around, they said he's a madman. He was forced not to wear his dreadlocks in that way by what the government have against him. A matter of fact, he had gone to a jail, he had gone to a jail, a prison, and a madhouse 82 times. The last time he go in the madhouse, he come out without his tongue. And they take it out. Said he must stop establishing this stupidness about His Imperial Majesty. Now for that period, no one recognized his, because they destroyed his dwelling, they destroyed everything there, and the land was there. Well, in a later stage of it, I decided that because they started to sell out the land to, because no one was paying the taxes, and the organization take it over, and so I said I would want to restore the foundation that he had set on the Pinnacle there. But there were some brethren in Spanish Town who monitored the program for the Bingi. When I go up there, I go see they have a Marcus Garvey flag on the front page. I said, no, I don't think I want this here. Because this man Marcus Garvey, this Father Howell. So why we going to promote something of him here? So I take the flag and put it down. Then the brethren who adore Marcus Garvey so much, he one they call Lion, he come and put up back the flag. I take the flag this time and put it in the fire. And I said that today to show the eye how much my feeling is. Mark you, reading Marcus Garvey book, it's an inspiration to the black race. I have nothing in dissing that action. But for me and the man Marcus Garvey and his behavior to us, he said black race that he promotes so much, then I see him as, I would say, the traitor to himself. Blessed.
No, I understand the elder Iri, because even the information that I.N.I. has got is along those lines. That even Garvey dissed the emperor and so on. So I'm happy to hear the elder say. It's actually the first time I also hear a Rasta saying that. Because all these others, they say, no, him was a prophet, and they say all good things. And you give them this information, they say, no, it's not Iri information, it's indoctrination, it's from Babylon.
I know, right? I had that experience with a lot of Rasta that I really
I think that, I've been working with Rastas, I don't know, as I say, for so many years. It's the first time I meet an elder who's truthful.
Because even on that aspect, we had a debate there at university concerning that other brethren. Like you're saying, some defended saying that it's an indoctrination, but I said it is propaganda, but it is true that he did say those things. But I said you must understand why. Because Marcus Garvey did not understand the politics, the momentum and the gravity that His Majesty was embarking. For instance, he didn't understand that the whole continent was upon His Majesty's shoulder. He didn't understand that even His Majesty first already went to reason with these people, before he could interact with them. So His Majesty knew already the mindset of these people that he was dealing with. You understand? And at the very same time,
a lot of his support during that time when he was dissing the.
As I said to the eye before, Garvey himself never even know what he was doing. Because he got the reasoning from another one, and he put it in the concept that it is his own. So he never know what he was doing. He was declaring.
Back to Africa and all that. It's philosophies that he took from other people. And he put in philosophy.
He himself never knew about what he was doing. There I see it. And that's the whole aspect of it. It's just like right now. The brethren said a lot of money go to seek out this repatriation thing and an individual thing. Now, you go use it for a means of promoting yourself. To have you a historical one amongst the world. Not knowing what you are doing. Some fail and some expose there. Because when some go into it, they buck up on something that they had to reverse. While some have it in a way, he goes through and becomes a hero for the world, as Marcus Garvey did. But then, there's a lot of one tradition works that way. For an individual. Now, as I know, there's no individual in I.N.I. tribe. It's not an individual work. It's for the unification of all the I.N.I. It's not just for Rasta, it's for black people. And that's what we need to know. We need to have a knowledge of I.N.I. redeeming. As His Majesty said, Africa awaits its creator, those at home and those abroad. And that's what we need to organize and centralize ourselves as he asked. And to go forward in rebuilding Africa.
Both
physically and theoretically.
Sorry to disturb the elder. I'm very excited now. I would like the elder to maybe make a list of suggested books that I can read. Because I did read Black Moses and the others, but maybe there's other books
for my knowledge, my knowledge, I would give it to the eye. Because I don't really deal with books. I used to read the book from ones and ones. But when I go into the aspect of these books, these are how a lot of these misconceptions come about. I want to read the philosophy of one, and he develop a philosophy of his own. And that's how they go into that. No, I knowledge, as His Majesty Shivika, he said, anything you go into, you go with an open mind, so you will know the truth within. So several times I said I would love to have the privilege of probably putting some things on book and paper. But at this stage, I see myself, I would rather go to the people and reason with the people. At this stage.
Because the elder has got a lot of information that I would also like people to receive. But now, as I say, I can see the elder is from Jamaica and the elder is very old. So some of the things when you were growing up, they were happening, you were there and you were around and you saw what was happening. Some of those things are not even written in books.
This is what I say within this educational framework you understand.
Now the elder will pass on and then leave with that information, and we won't.
is around. The ancient is raised to stay. This is
Saying in
preparation.
flesh, in terms the ancient
Oh,
is growing.
no, we are recording this. We are recording.
The wages of sin is death.
Yes.
But then the word,
Rastafari is life. It's not for death. His Majesty conquered death. And right now, one is saying His Majesty is dead. That's a mythology. There's no proof. I and I have been seeking of that proof from the ones who said this. A mythology. I can tell you, I do one document at one stage of writing, and this was when the establishment of Michael Manley, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, when he tell the lion His Imperial Majesty. I see it a bit disturbing in the way because you have a lot of Rastas in Jamaica who ride the bandwagon with him there. Although he was declaring a lion His Imperial Majesty, by a rod he said His Majesty give him. And give him a name, say he's Joshua, he go take children of Israel from Pharaoh. This kind of political slogan. I do a document, a 6-page and 3 leaves, declaring even knowledge I have on what he was saying about His Majesty, that his action gonna have the fulfillment of His Majesty, leaving the throne of Addis Ababa. Because Addis Ababa is not a righteous throne of His Imperial Majesty. It's a political frontier. Azania, I know no sin can never enter His Majesty righteous throne. And all Michael Manley go there, who is a murderer, wicked. Even so wicked that he tell lion His Imperial Majesty. Really? Now, it's 7 years after that action, His Majesty left the throne. 7 years. I did that document, I take it to one of his minister called Winston Jones. I cut up a coat of arms, which is the Indian coat of arms for Jamaica. It's not a black man. They had it in the constitution at the time, for you to destroy the coat of arms, you go to prison for 7 years. It said 7 years fulfill the 7-year action from when I do that to when His Majesty leave the throne. Now, when I give it to Winston Jones, and I didn't put it in an envelope. I had it sealed. He pulled it in and he started to read as I asked him to. By the time he do that and the coat of arms drop out, he wrinkled up his face in a way. I said, you have no need to do that, you know where I live. I don't think I look like a man that can hide from anyone. So if you read and something is there to convict you, come here. I freely will tread. Now after he started to read for a while, he became fully took back and he said, okay, come next Friday, you will have a... I didn't have the opportunity of looking in that man's face again until I hear he's dead. And I make several efforts. I go to his house, I go to his workplace, I try his office. He run away from his office by taking the fire escape to run away from me. Then I take on Douglas Manley, the brother of Michael Manley, who was living in Ethiopia. The first I had the first reasoning with him, I never have a second one. He becomes an alcoholic, he and the driver, where the driver go grow dreadlocks, being an alcoholic, because of the one he listened to the reasoning between I and Douglas. And both of them turn alcoholic. You go to Jamaica right now at a place called Newport, you will find that driver there. And I don't think you're going to find him when he's sober. I don't see Douglas Manley anymore from that day. When I hear he becomes an alcoholic. These are the experience I have there. Even when Manley and his issue there, when the bandwagon is coming, I can tell the sweetest kettle chant I hear is what the Manley coming with Claudius Henry. Because his father had told Claudius Henry a lie for support of the referendum election, using Rasta. Then he come do the same thing with the using the Rasta by giving Claudius Henry promise that he would be Governor General when Clifford Campbell resigned. That was not in any way could have happened because Claudius Henry had gone to prison for treasoning against the country. These things the Rastas them will go ride it, man, they don't even think about, don't even want to know about. That these are the reality of what happened. Now, I know from my trial amongst even my brethren them there Rastas, the same thing you find there where there big conflict. As we have these whole lot of misconception. My mother, when I started to acknowledge Rastafari, a 10-year-old, then in the period of going through tribulation with my mother, when I was in the stage of 14, 15, I had to run away from her. At that time, South St. Elizabeth, as I confined myself in South Africa also, when it declared that the South has no way of holding back. Then I was the one who broke all that barrier of hate against Rasta in South St. Elizabeth. Even my mother hated me so much that several times she carried the police on me. I must come out of his yard talking stupidness about Africa and His Imperial Majesty being the Almighty. Now, in that way of living, then I actually see Rastafari in a lot of a way different from a lot of ones I tried amongst. Because I said, a man he go and said a link with a ganja for Rasta, a ganja and a not eating meat. That's the only thing they see Rasta to be.
Even in South Africa.
I tried.
I know to Rasta, they tell you about meat and they tell you about ganja. Not you want to trot forward and
brainwash.
And these are the aspects I need to really have sharing amongst I.
Because when I elder, this thing you mentioned, even I, who is Rasta in the institution, we do get persecuted sometimes by the Rasta community, because according to most of the Rastas, going into the university or in an education institution is brainwash, is Babylon. Those are institutions of Babylon. You see, so we are like brainwash youths. That is the ways we are called sometimes. We are the university youths. You see, the brainwash youth, those who go to brainwash. You see, man.
Now, if I go with you to that university, they will say, we know this man. This man is part of Babylon. Him go brainwash, and then they fight with you. They fight with me, and we end up squabbling and not going anywhere. So,
as I say, my elder,
I am asking the eye. I know probably the I had the region of work planned out already. But I wouldn't mind if the I could find even one day to fit in this gathering I have. You give I the information of when the I can, and I will have to set a period of reasoning for that day. That I could have share what the knowledge I have amongst I.
So when can we meet? When?
Well, the bingy will be starting for the 2nd of November.
So there won't be disturbances.
And it will be.
I would like also to reason only with the elder.
No, but this is not for just I alone, Rasta, it's for everyone. And the giving us some knowledge of the going amongst the Rastas and the treatment they give the I would love to have the idea for I because this reasoning as I have it is to get rid of a lot of these misconceptions. And I would want to share knowledge of love amongst I. That's what it's about. That's what this the way of life is about. The love, the unification of I as a race, working with each other. And this is
I I'm an Ivastan.
But this event that the ancient is inviting you, it will be taking place in Cape Town for a 7-day period, from 2nd until the 8th.
I will have to give her which are the 7 days that I can.
Free, which day you free during that week, possible?
What I would do is ask the one being the one who control the minutes there to organize it in a way that this day we're going to have a reasoning to fulfill that.
No, I think you must give me the dates and then I'll look at them. The only thing I'm worried about is the expenses, traveling expenses. Yeah, because if it's going to be in Cape Town, it's
sudden request.
Yeah, it's now November, so it's
my elder, you see. You know, one thing that is, as we were reasoning about the Garvey issue and His Majesty, one thing that interests I is the action that His Majesty made, you see, when he went into Jamaica. Because His Majesty, when he went to Jamaica, he did like go into Marcus Garvey's sepulchre or grave, you see, the memorial that was built, and he lay a wreath. So that action that His Majesty did there, it shows that even though Garvey had said all of those things that maybe he had said, you know, or the views that he did, the father, His Majesty.
I want to I overstand something more here. That His Majesty tried at this dispensation at time. He never tried to I.N.I. Rasta. He tried to Baberang. He tried looking like Baberang. Although he have never been to a barber shop. He goes to every institution that Baberang have set. So if I should look on it that way, then it's something again there I should look at. Remember, there I go to the Pope. There I go to every institution of the Pope around. There I go to every parliament and a constitutional reasoning. So that is something I need to examine in the way of even what they are examining with him going to Garvey. He's showing I that the I doesn't really disrespect anyone. It's just for one I want to seek to find where the truth is, because the truth will set I free.
Even went to Garvey's grave with that in mind. I include everybody.
To show everyone that the I is not against any one, although you don't matter who you are. What the knowledge I have with even him and Mussolini is that when he overcome Mussolini, he asked Mussolini to stay in Ethiopia. That Mussolini turned and said, "What kind of man is you? I come to destroy you and you conquered. No, you wanted to stay." So even that was something of an example to I throughout the world again. I see it.
Because this is where I'm going. You see, His Majesty's character was misunderstood even by his own people. Not only Garvey spoke such words when he went overseas to seek help, or when he went to exile. First and foremost, His Majesty laid the foundations of Europe, United Nations, League of Nations, and so forth. So most people did not understand what His Majesty has done. So you will say, let us prove what we established in the League of Nations, because now we're a member of that league, and we established that league on what? On international morality and collective security. That each member should not discriminate on another member based on what? On what you call economical power, or rather the power of ammunition. We shall respect the state whether they have no ammunition. If they are a sovereign state based on agricultural means in terms of their sustainability, then respect them. If you have weapons, they have resources, and you don't need to bully them over such. It's only made of reasonings. But now they agreed to all of that. Why? Because Europe was not organized or not centralized. They needed this man, this royal man, this prophesied man, this Messiah man, Yavastamia deal with, who has this wisdom to bring the world together. Yavastamia deal with.
This is why it's mine that would get I to understand what the history of life is. That's why it's mine of His Imperial Majesty.
Now, as a result, now when he went there, so everyone thought him as a traitor. Why does he go to the Queen of England?
Even Garvey said this.
Yavastamia deal
with Garvey also. Garvey established U.N.I.A. Garvey is sort of a 7 miles of Black Star liner, a ship industry. He got the money, but he didn't come to Africa. He go to Europe. What happened to the money, and I don't know up to this time. And there's no ship. But if he had come to the shipping industry of Africa, then he would have had those ships. But he had never done that. So that was something, a weakness of him again. It's no different from Burning Spear chant, how much years of his chanting a repatriation of Africa. But then his repatriation is in Europe also. Bob Marley chanted for Africa also, and when he run away from his problem in Jamaica, it's Europe he run to also, he didn't come to Africa either. I see. And these are the things I need to have a vision of why these things had happened. And I know that the amount of lie tell on Africa to the Western world, the discrimination that given to the Western world about Africa, it have a lot of one they're scared of even calling the name Africa. Although through the action of a Rasta fraternity, artists see it a way of making a money, having a wealth in a heavy way, using Africa. Because that's what they do, use Africa. If you ask them to come to Africa to even do a show, since they are messengers, to establish some of the message they have, they said they are not coming to do anything for Africa free.
Even Mutabaruka, he came here and I wanted to speak to him. He didn't want to speak to U.I.N.I.A.
Pertaining to this issue the elder is raising, the issue of Garvey and coming into Africa, I did also try to do some research. And there's the elder Tony Martin. He's the one that has written a lot of things about Garvey, doing research on Garvey. And there's another book even inside the institution there, or in UWC, I did find in the archives, speaking about the works of Garvey in South Africa. I got to find that Garvey did want to come, especially here in the South. He did even write letters to the South African government, but Garvey was not allowed. There was a decree like by all the governments within the continent, the colonial government, that Marcus Garvey should not be allowed to step inside. That is why even in Liberia, he did not go himself, but he sent delegates trying to work with the
discrimination against His Imperial Majesty. That what had developed that against him, that Africa was against him in a way.
It was colonial, my elder.
It was Africa.
Ruled by the white boy. Because, for example, here, it was, I think it was Jan Smuts, like the government of those times, the British government was ruling here, for example. And like, Garvey was...
Like the elder says, as far as I understand, Garvey lost his support because of his being against, for dissing.
And that gave the Europeans strength to...
Yes.
Because His Majesty was the link to Africa for the Europeans. Even the outside world were coming to Africa through His Majesty. Because His Majesty...
People thought Garvey made a mistake. They said, you can't diss that. I mean, he's so righteous and so on. You diss him. And so he lost a lot of support because of that.
He lost himself.
A lot of people even went to England and he died there, but a lot of people turned against him because not only that one thing of dissing the emperor, but a lot of other, as the elder says, there's a lot of mistakes. Yes. In some of the ships that he was buying, he was employing white people to be captains and all. So he made a lot of mistakes.
So he set the enemy of himself. That he had to...
he made a lot of mistakes. A lot of people...
and that's where it was with Marcus Garvey. As I said, to what he writes in his book and what it's inspiration to the black people, I really give thanks for that issue. But Marcus Garvey himself, knowing what he had done, the history, I know him.
I'm a Garveyite, but I won't try and hide his mistakes. Because some of the things I read and I'm asking myself, why did Garvey do this? Because he made a mistake. This was a mistake, and other people saw that as a mistake, he makes another mistake, and he makes a lot of mistakes, and people start saying, no, this man, as the elder says, he's against himself, is this, and then he starts losing the support.
Like when he visited the KKK, he also lost a lot of support.
Yeah, so he did a lot of things that made him to lose the support. He made a lot of mistakes as well. So it doesn't mean because I'm a Garveyite, I'll say he never made a mistake. He was pure, he was righteous, and he made a lot of mistakes.
He's a close brethren of mine there in Jamaica right now. He's a black man. He's one of the ancient amongst the Bingi family. He is one who, he's so much an ancient there. His portrait was outstanding amongst His Imperial Majesty Chad to Jamaica. That a white man do in scrapbook and the newspaper of His Majesty Chad. And at his failure are departing in death. It was that man he called and give that scrapbook to. Now that man, he can't sign his name. He don't know what is there, but he refused giving it to another one. Because it was given to him as a gift, and the man explained to him why he giving it to him. Now, he look and I, when I see time expired there and I'm coming home, that you can't go to Africa, you is not a black man, you is an Indian. That's what he tell us. I said, then why you don't come later and you go, because you have the money, can pay. And when I said that to him, I wasn't making a game. I know he has the money that could pay the way he come. But his region, although he talks about His Majesty being the Almighty and Africa, there's a doubt in his mind, just like a lot of ones more there. I can identify that. So what is there, although His Majesty fulfilled the revelation of coming to acknowledge the world of who He is, the King of Kings, as I asked the pastor man, if there's a possibility that a man could steal that name, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, if there was a possibility that a man could steal that name, and to know at the coronation of that man, all the leaders of the world was there. All the leaders of religion in the high state was there. They witnessed the coronation, fulfilling the revelation. But they still deny the man. They still fight against the man, accepting the man knowledge of living amongst U.I.N.I.A.
It's a pity the time is short.
True, my elder.
I feel like sitting with the elder for the whole night.
True. My elder, I would like to ask you, my elder, just after all this reasoning, the possibility once again of these cavities, this relationship, like for example, if the elders could come sometime to Cape Town, even like not necessarily the invitation now the elder was mentioning, but for example, as I was speaking about these activities, Black History Month is days we acknowledge, June 16, the Africa Day, all these months, you see, the Ethiopian New Year, the African. So we always do have something, you see, but most especially since the elder is within U.N.I.A, Garvey Day, my elder, you see, I think it would be a more relevant day, you see, for us maybe to do some works there in terms of imparting information to...
like I say, Garvey Day and Kwanzaa and other holidays we celebrate with GAC. Because we don't have to travel a long distance. I don't have enough money to travel around. So GAC is not verified. Just put petrol, I go to them and then we celebrate together. But going to Cape Town, I can't really promise. It's heavy.
No, when I'm elder, what we can do maybe as a civil society, we can try to make means for a ticket, you see, like going to and coming back, you see, and then also in terms of accommodation, then it will be just availability.
Yes, look, I don't want to give you a job of, I don't want you to promise me that there won't be people who will want us to squabble, because you'll always find those people. But that really breaks my heart. If that starts happening, then it breaks my heart.
I want to tell you something. I use that word, break the heart. Describe to I how that heart break.
No, it's just a term that we are used to. It's not break.
It's a mythology.
Yeah, it doesn't break as such, but I feel...
They orchestrate words and give... Okay. Look, for instance, we said, we're coming from the colonial state to what they give freedom. Yeah? They say we are independent. Yeah. But to know what those words mean to us is no good. Yeah? Because a freedom, then you are free to move from here to there. Yeah? But you can't go demand any rights of yours. Because a dumb is there. Yeah? A dumb, you had no privilege of using that for an expression of being free. Now, the orchestration of a independent, you are in a pen. Eh? Like a animal, you be now in a pen. Depending on them. It's not that you are free in a way that you don't see them. You are depending on them. The said administration of the European tradition. Because if you go speak for your right through the freedom, then you're going to find where the pen established. Where they're going to use your own wealth against you. Because all the wealth they have is I own. Where they rob and rape Africa to have the wealth of theirs. And set it in a way against I, a black race. So they're going to do what they say, they sanction. If you will speak for your right. And left you to go into this made of hunger. So these are the way they orchestrate these words, like even the broken heart. They said you give you a meditation of a heart. But no heart can meditate. The heart is just an organ like a kidney pumping the blood. There's no meditation there.
Yeah, but we are used to the way we speak. And that's what I'm saying. The more we reason, the more I also learn, the more we change these words. But without the reasoning, as long as there's the reasoning and the moving forward.
I recognize I would want to say the whole day, the whole night.
Elder, I hear what the elder is saying, you see, but I did also reason with Elder Brother Bonto there in GAC concerning this issue of even like the GAC coming to Cape Town, because I've been asking even about the GAC, how much has it been spreading around here? You see, even in terms of the works, the activities, because it seems like mostly it's this province that is most busy.
Another thing, we don't like talking about this, but I believe that we have to.
Yes,
there's a big problem within the U.N.I.A. for the past few years. There's also a big problem within the GAC for the past few years. There's a guy from Zimbabwe, Sabelo Sbanda, I think. He was in the GAC, and then he went to the States, and then Wafika in the States, he joined the U.N.I.A. When he came back, they were cross with him. And then there are people within the GAC who are splitting. In other words, they want this money for repatriation, and then they do receive some of the money, and then by user for flying around and going places. And when people on the ground say we need money for this and that, they say there's no money. So Uprada Buntu was one of the people, because Uprada Buntu, he stays now here, and he's working 100% for GAC. And then sometimes there's no money, and so there are those problems. Within U.N.I.A, there was Garvey's son. Maybe you even know about all these things and all these people. Look, Garvey's son is also called Marcus Garvey. He was the head of the U.N.I.A, but as time went on, some of the people within the U.N.I.A, they had a problem with him, and then there was sort of a squabbling for positions. And then right now there's a guy called, I always forget his name. And then there's sort of it's similar to a split within the U.N.I.A, because even now you might have more than more than 3 or 4 different U.N.I.A organizations existing, because you have U.N.I.A of 1929, you have U.N.I.A Inc. Incorporated, you have other U.N.I.As, and you have other organizations that are formed out of here. So there's a lot of fighting for positions and all that, even within the U.N.I.A.
Like I said, we had 13 houses of the Rasta in Jamaica right now.
Yeah.
The house, Africa Hall, that would be the last one established there in Jamaica, although it is the first established of His Imperial Majesty. But it was acknowledged in Barbados by Bongo Spear. And as I said, one goes for repatriation money and take it to. That's what Bongo Spear did, using the Africa Hall to have money of his own, for his own purpose. And then it goes in a flap. Because for all the non-relevant society that give him the money there, then they see nothing he had done with it, all of them closed down on him. So when I decided to acknowledge the Africa Hall in Jamaica, it was a group of I started with 3. Then we established for the 7 members as a recognition. And then we found some problem because one brethren carrying a white man in it there, but we didn't want. So we keep it down for a while, saying, okay, let us have it there till that this white man see it the way he had to leave. And eventually, he didn't leave until I leave there also. After I leave, the brethren, that was the one with the organizing of it, just as he called I and said to I, he see the way of reviving Africa now because we get rid of that white man. So they're going to do it and finish the whole process and get it registered. It's the only organ in Jamaica that registered at this time within the Rastafari tradition. The government changed and seeking for means of getting money, so decide to tax every organ that is there, getting a free fund. And all the houses there had to run to the Africa Hall there for a refuge. So all of the houses there now is recognized by the government under the Africa Hall umbrella. And these things we need to clarify in our chat. The purpose we are there, what we want, what we are, and not an individual thing as I know these ones they go. I even see it with the brethren, we were reason that said ancient there, where he speaks about we want to know what kind of effort I is putting in towards repatriation. He's saying that once go there, and when you go individually, you go back up and things there. And these are the things there. Where I know in this dispensation of time, and I want to work even in Jamaica right now, you have a government there trying to work their way in on reparation money. But no reparation supposed to pay to the Western world, it's supposed to for Africa. Africa is the one that get damaged. Africa needs a reparation so as to get these people them from the Western Hemisphere to come home. And these are the things we need to work on. We want all the Africa, the black community to see this way that I work forward to reparation, demanding from the European for I release to rebuild Africa.
My elder, I give thanks, man, for the...
even from Jamaica, we did have a few visitors. There was also, maybe you know him, I've forgotten his name again. They started the political party, Garvey's political party, the People's Political Party. He came here, I don't remember which year it was. And we also wanted to link up with him to also start a same organization, same party, same everything, but with the links overseas, not to be a South African political organization, but to be an international political organization in South Africa. But I keep writing emails and he never answered.
You see, a lot of these ones, as we say, they want to have an individual thing there to become a leader. A leader into a way of their own idea. and not for the people. And that's what happened to a lot of the leaders we have here. They are leaders, but on the basic way of themselves and their colleague, not for the people. Where the people is the government. It's not those in the parliament, the government. So what happened to the tradition is that the people give them too much power. And they use it against the people. They turn it around to say they are the government. Well, they are the servant of the government. They are the servant of the people. These things I need to really put together in a package of working with. As I said, I'm saying that I, Rasta, should have a member in the parliament also. In Africa, in Jamaica, I wouldn't recommend I, Rasta go in the parliament because that parliament is not for I. But the parliament in Africa is I one, and we need to go defend the rights of the Africans so much as to get the one government rule Africa. And not in a segregation of every area. It's disturbing when I live here and I'm going to Zimbabwe. I go to a border. They go say, oh, where's your passport? And there's no port there.
This is good reasoning.
Another thing I would like to, I'm interested in is if footages, there's no footages of Marcus Garvey, because I've been trying to search like visuals and speeches also, like, because I know Garvey was active that side and there was cameras and you do see him in small clips, but the only documentary I know is that one, Look for Me in the Whirlwind. You see, my elder.
Yeah, the according to the information that I have, we only have 2 existing speeches of Garvey. Then they are not very long. They are very, very short.
The African
I've also tried to get speeches and other things, but I only get the clips from different documentaries and so on. So I've never seen.
They don't have anything.
No, I tried them, but like I say, the headquarters is split into, like even here, there are people who phone us, they want to open a branch. When I send the information to people there, they fight for the information. This one steals the information and says, Bheki in South Africa gave this to us. It means Bheki recognizes our branch. And then the others also say, no, last year we received this from Bheki, so Bheki recognizes us. So they end up... So sometimes I'm also beginning now to be doubtful to send any information overseas. So there's that friction within each GAC. On the top guys, they are fighting for that money. U.N.I.A, they are also fighting for that money, because you must remember, if you are a branch, every year it's more or less like a tax. There's money that you have to send overseas, so they want that money.
My elders, we can be free, my elders.
I give thanks.
And then how do you sell these ones?
No, this one I just made a few last time, but I'm not actually selling them.
True, my elder.
Yeah, this one I just.
True.
Actually, you are one. I think I gave it to one guy in GAC, and then you must be the second one.
True, my elder.
But I'm gonna make more copies. If you think just watch it. If you think it will be helpful, we can make more copies, or maybe sell them just to recover the expenses.
True, my elder. Yes,
maybe to buy extra CDs and make more or something.
Yes, my elder.
This is what we can reason about.
True.
We have this.
Yes,
what should we do? How should we work?
True,
like these things. These things we used to give them free, even to the Rastas, but we were very, very discouraged. We go to the Rasta, there's a lot of ganja in.
Yes, hey.
And then we stop.
True, elder. I see, elder.
The cost to put them together. You have your time. Thought of getting information I have in a book. It I've never done before. I reason about it with one time because I don't really good at writing. Right? And I'm looking to find someone who work with I. Well, I give thanks for the privilege of these youths. Yeah. We can sit and work together and doing something of a knowledge there. So I'm hoping, because my coming to Africa is not for me of myself. I'm coming home, but it's not for me of myself.
Yeah, I would like the I to write. In other words, everything. The I was born in such year and then grew up like this. And what happened during your childhood, what was happening in Jamaica, especially in relating to Ras and to Garveyism, just like that. Yeah. And the people you know that.
My experience, the experience of myself. The experience of myself growing. Is something I would
because we have a lot to learn from that. Because if we, even the people you know and the people you can advise, like now you are saying, okay, Garvey did this, Garvey made these mistakes, but this is where I like Garvey. I like the way you are open-minded and the way you are not one-sided. You just put the truth as it is. And
I said, is the truth set you free? And if I'm going to deny myself of the truth, then I don't think I could be free. I know I had a lot of ones who would go against and who is with. But then that's how it is. Your experience in treading on.
Even people who worked with Garvey, because I know Garvey, I read books about Garvey, but the people who were working with him, I don't know them. Because Garvey wasn't working, just like Bheki. In South Africa, we are told about Bheki, but Rampele, maybe a few others as well. But you don't know a lot of people. In other words, if you have let's say you have 12 people following or working with you, some of them will go leaky, and some of them will stick to the truth. So we want to know which ones stick to the truth, and then which ones went leaky, and so on, so that we at least we have a link up from the main person right up to the present time. Right now, we don't have any link up. We just know about Garvey and we like Garvey. Sometimes we don't like to mention the mistakes that he made and so on.
And also information about the mother, Mama Amy. You see, because also
I heard that he died, I think it was around 1974, 75, something like that, but I'm not 100% sure. I must still find out and research and because even Garvey, he had 2 sons. I don't know if he had other children, but he had 2 sons. Julius Wilson Garvey, the one who is the medical doctor.
They actually based in Europe. They don't have much to do with Jamaica. So
I thought they were in the States, because I know.
That's why I said well, I call the States in Europe the same way.
It's
the said concept. So they're based in that part.
No, it's true. I think the elder is seeing things the way we should see them, because there's no difference between Europe and America. It's America is the daughter of, it's the same.
England. You have the history of how America gets in the action of where it is there now. It's the said Englishman them. And how they go destroy the Indians, and then they come to Africa to take the Africa and go train them, the soldiers to go fight their own people, because the Europeans then that go to America there in the first instance. After they destroy what Indian, they could have captured the land. They didn't want to go back to England. They decided to stay with a different force, a different people. Then the ones in England decided they had to go there and go fight them. So they go fight their own people, but it was a black man here they used to go fight their own people. They described as the Buffalo Soldiers.
You must have the elder to write. Even when there's a function somewhere, you just make a video of the whole.
No, even when the elder first arrived there in the institution, in the Hymn Society, in our office there, we did record the elder. We did have about 4 hours.